I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal, before this decade is out, of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the earth.
All right, well, Lynn, it was May 1961 that John F. Kennedy announced that we are going to send a man to the moon and return him safely back to Earth. Nobody's ever done that before. But 8 years later, in July 1969, I was woken up in the early, I was already in sleep. I was woken up by my mother to come downstairs and watch on our black and white TV Neil Armstrong take his first step on the moon. Do you remember that?
No.
You don't remember that? You were alive. You were younger than me. But I was 8 years old. And it changed a lot for me. So let's find out and let's get going.
15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. We have a liftoff. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
All right. Well, Lynn, would you like to go to the moon?
Yes.
You would like to go to the moon. Why? What do you want to see? Just want to see the Earth from the moon?
No.
No? Just like to go out in space?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in my early childhood, my favorite thing when I first grew up was dinosaurs and cowboys. And then as I got a little older, it switched to G.I. Joes and Hot Wheels. I was the first generation to experience both of those. But in 1969, after Neil Armstrong and the rest of the crew of Apollo 11 went to the moon, that changed. My favorite thing was Major Matt Mason. Do you know who Major Matt Mason is?
No.
Never heard of him.
This is Major Matt Mason, Mattel's Man in Space, ready for every adventure with all his official equipment. The space station, protected by solar shields. The moon suit, designed for exploration. The space crawler that keeps on going no matter what. Get them together or separately, and share the exciting adventures of Major Matt Mason, Mattel's new Man in Space.
Well, I'm going to talk about Major Matt Mason a little bit later. But first, we got a very special thing here that Justin's going to show you.
Okay.
Okay, something that he made. And everybody's going to see it. And it's really cool. So
What did you
let's go.
make?
Well, we're going to find out. So let's take a look. All right, so here's part of what I wanted to show you. This is the lunar module. It's actually part of a Lego set that I gave Justin for Christmas. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. As you see, there's Buzz and Neil and the flag. And Justin's going to go over this and talk about this tremendous model he has. And he's going to show it to his mother. All right, and here it is. It's a Saturn V rocket, all to scale. This is what Justin built it. This is what delivered the Apollo 11 crew to the moon. Justin, how long did this take you to build?
Probably a week or two.
Week or two?
Yeah.
It wasn't cheap. It's actually a Lego model. And it's accurate, right?
Yeah,
It's accurate.
It's to scale.
Now, are you gonna show your mother how it goes together and everything? So Justin's gonna show his mother how he built it. He's gonna show her all the stages and how it works.
So first, what we have here is the bottom of the rocket, the base of the rocket.
First stage, right?
The stage 1, yep. Where it has like the engine, everything.
And this part would get would fall back to Earth.
Yep.
Okay, and that was the first one to get them off the ground, right? But that's all accurate. And then we have a second stage, which is
the second
that's the
stage.
second stage there. Look how accurate that thing is. It's beautiful.
Right. States. And the
Yeah,
Sun.
United States of America. Okay.
Yep. So this is the third stage. And this cone here, this would fall off. Then, once they're like in space and stuff, this part would fall off, and then this would house the lunar module.
And loves her son.
I do.
So inside here is where the actual lunar module would go, right in there. Then this part would come off. The men would be in there. They'd have to turn her around, clip it onto this, and then
Not on the cone.
yeah.
Yeah. And then what?
Then land on the moon, pretty much.
With the lunar module.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's even got the capsule after it splashed down in the ocean. Got that part too. So this is all to scale. So it's pretty cool. That's Neil Armstrong. Now bring him back to the rocket. Set him down. This is to scale, everybody. There he is. There's Neil. And here's the rocket. And all of that, except for this little teeny piece right here, was all rocket and fuel. They took all of that to get them to the moon. Except for that one little piece right there. That little cone. Right there. That's it. Now, why did this change things for me? Let's get back to Major Matt Mason.
This is Major Matt Mason, Mattel's Man in Space, ready for every adventure with all his official equipment. The space
I
station
had to play
protected
that commercial again, I'm sorry, but it brings so many memories back for me. Major Matt Mason was a really fun toy at the time. It was really popular. I also had a astronaut Ed White model as well. He was the first American to walk in space, and that was cool. I was very interested in space altogether, and it just fascinated me. Now there is a tie-in. There's a reason for me bringing up Major Matt Mason, other than just the fact that it's the 50th anniversary of the first man on the moon. Major Matt Mason had this thing that was called a jetpack, and it fit on his back. And they had a string that went through the backpack or the jetpack, and you could attach it from one end of the room and to the other, and he would slide down it, and it looked like he was flying, I guess. But actually what he really was doing, he was zip lining. And that's what I wanted to use as a segue to our zip lining video that's coming up. We may be shooting that video next weekend, which doesn't mean it will actually be up or won't air next weekend. It would actually air the weekend after. But another thing I'm doing is I'm trying to find a Major Matt Mason on eBay. And unfortunately for me, Major Matt Mason is doing pretty well on the collector's circuit. And he's going for a lot of money. And I don't want to pay $75 for just a Major Matt Mason, and I'm lucky if he even has his helmet. Although I did find one on eBay. He's not in very good shape. He doesn't have a helmet. He's currently at about $10.50. He closes sometime tomorrow. And if he doesn't go too much higher, I just might buy him. So my purpose is I want him to ride the zip line with me. So that's kind of my plan. So it may not happen though. I may not be able to find him. If it's too much money, I'm not gonna do it. But it would be cool to acquire one of my childhood toys again. So that's in the plans.
Okay, engine stop. We copy you down, Eagle. Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
We'll see you next time on The Lynn Life.
I'm going to step off the limb now. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.